What's up, guys? Welcome into another episode of the Michigan Recruiting Report. Before we dive into 5 key remaining targets, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel for free, get notifications every time we drop new videos. And as always, subscribe to the Wolverine.com today. Use the promo code UM1. That's $1 for 2 months over at the Wolverine.com. Get exclusive information on everything Michigan recruiting, as well as the team, basketball, transfer portal, and so much more. Plus, you can be part of a message board community with thousands and thousands of users. All right, guys. So Michigan went on a big recruiting run this summer, landed a ton of commitments over the last couple of weeks, but still some big remaining targets left on the board. Let's talk about 5 of them. And let's go ahead and start off with the biggest of them all, and that is 5-star running back Seavon Haidider. Haidider is the crown jewel, or would be the crown jewel of this class. He's the big fish, the guy Michigan needs to land. The only other running back Michigan has committed right now is a big project in Jonathan Brown. Seavon Haidider would be the guy that could be the bell cow for years to come. He would make an immediate impact as a freshman. He would probably be 3 and out, potential first-round draft pick. He has that type of talent. He's the #1 running back and #9 overall prospect in the country. I think right now this one still remains a very close race with Tennessee. Ohio State and Georgia are the other finalists in this recruitment, but I still think this is mostly a 2-team race between Michigan and Tennessee. It's felt like that for the last, couple of months, or at least the last several weeks. I think Michigan has done everything they possibly could have done in the Haidider recruitment. They checked a lot of boxes for him, both Michigan and Tennessee. They both, I think, are very competitive on the NIL front. They both built really strong relationships with him and his family and, his advisor. I think they've really showed him the opportunity to come in and be that featured back. I think they've both made him feel at home, and now it's kind of just down to Haidider and his family having these final discussions. Haidider tweeted out that he would be posting a commitment date soon. I do think it will be before his senior season. So at some point in the next, few weeks, sometime before mid-August, I would assume. But yeah, I mean, it's really a tough one to call. I'm still very optimistic that Michigan can win out, but it has become a bit of a coin flip here. It's definitely a tough one to really get a read on. All right, let's go ahead and move over to the defensive side of the ball. So not a lot of targets on the offensive side of the ball, aside from Seavon Haidider. Michigan will probably look at adding another offensive lineman. But for now, the focus is on a lot of the defensive side targets. And we're going to talk about Deuce Gerald, top 100 defensive lineman out of Georgia. Michigan already has a pretty big defensive line / edge class, but Gerald's is one of those guys that Michigan would make room for. He could fit in as a 3 technique, similar to Alistair Vallejo. He could also play some nose as well, maybe not that tall, long nose like a Kenneth Grant, but more of that shorter, stouter nose. Either way, he's super quick in the interior, plays with really good play strength. He's a guy that could certainly be a difference maker, and that's why Michigan would make room for him. I think Michigan has increased its stock with Deuce Gerald in recent weeks. They hosted him for a midweek official visit. It didn't seem like Michigan was much of a contender going into the summer, but I think they hit a home run on the OV. I think Lou Esposito has been Michigan's best recruiter this summer, and Michigan definitely has a puncher's chance. Ohio State has kind of faded a little bit. Oregon seems like the team to beat, and Michigan might be Oregon's biggest threat. So we'll see. No commitment date set just yet, but we do expect it to come at some point here in the near future. All right, let's go ahead and talk about on 300 linebacker Nick Abrams out of Maryland. Nick Abrams has a Final Four of Michigan, Georgia, Alabama, and Oregon. He recently told our national team that Michigan was basically in 4th place, so obviously some work to do. I think Michigan checks a lot of boxes for Nick Abrams. He's a really high academic kid, goes to a great school in the DMV. I think he really loved his tour of the Ross School of Business and would definitely see the benefit of getting a degree from Ross. I think he's a guy who also understands there is a big need at linebacker this cycle, and he could come in and make an early impact for the Wolverines. He has a really good relationship with linebackers coach Brian G. Mary, as well as head coach Sharon Moore. So, this just feels like a recruitment Michigan should win. I do think that Michigan hasn't traditionally spent big on linebacker from the NIL perspective. They've relied pretty heavily on the transfer portal for the linebacker position. But I think if there's a guy that Michigan is going to make an NIL run at this cycle at linebacker, it's probably Nick Abrams. So we'll see if things change over the next week. Remember, he is set to make his decision on July 16th. All right, let's go ahead and talk about Devont Benjamin. This is one where Michigan has gained some optimism. Oregon is still considered the team to beat in this recruitment, but a lot to like about Michigan's chances. Lamar Morgan landed some big fish last cycle, surprised a lot of people. I think he can do the same with Devont Benjamin. I think Michigan is willing to invest NIL in one elite corner this cycle, and it seems like Benjamin is the most realistic. Oregon has been trending as that team to beat for a while now. Obviously, they have plenty of NIL as well. But I think Michigan did a really nice job of pitching him on the opportunity to come in and play early and the need for corner and the ability to play multiple spots in Michigan's defensive scheme. I think Benjamin's an elite corner, but he's also a guy who can star in the nickel. He can play safety as well. He's a fantastic return man. There's really a lot to like about Devont Benjamin's versatility. So they're investing a lot of resources in Devont Benjamin. And like I said, optimism has picked up. He's set to make a decision in early August, but it wouldn't be surprising to see him move up his timeline. All right, last guy on the list is top 100 athlete Cissi Moa out of Utah. Moa was set to make his decision over the weekend, and the pick likely would have been Utah, but he pushed things back. He wants to give himself some more time to make a decision. And honestly, Moa, when we talked, last week or a week and a half ago, he told me that he wanted to make a commitment in mid-July. So that was initially his plan. So I think he just wants some more time to think about things. Michigan's in that top group, along with Utah, Tennessee, Michigan State. I think Utah and Tennessee are, those two teams that are probably at the top. Washington also in the mix. I think Michigan did as good of a job as it could have done with Moa, selling him on the defensive side of the ball and scheme fit and coming in and being an impact player at nickel. But I think that Moa would really like the opportunity to play on the offensive side of the ball at the next level. I think his preference is at wide receiver. So if Michigan wants to win this recruitment, I think they need to talk to him more about playing wide receiver at the next level, or at least giving him the opportunity to play wide receiver along with being a defensive back. So I think Michigan has some work to do as he gets ready to make a decision at some point this month. Okay, so those are 5 key remaining targets this cycle. For more on all of these recruitments and more, head over to thewolverine.com. Use that promo code UM1. That's $1 for 2 months at thewolverine.com. And as always, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, get notifications every time we drop new videos.